Hello and welcome to the Eileen Silverman Show. I'm your host, Eileen, and on this week's program, our guests discuss the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, their upcoming Gainesville Walk to benefit research, education, and advocacy, and two MS ambassadors share their personal stories. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our program. I'm very proud and pleased to introduce our guests, Danya McGee and Stellas Sarkis, MS ambassadors. And Danya and Stella, it's wonderful to have you on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for all you're doing to help us understand multiple sclerosis as MS ambassadors. You're very important in this education for all of us. And to begin, help us understand what is MS, what is multiple sclerosis?
Multiple sclerosis is a neurological condition of the central nervous system. It affects approximately 2.3 million people worldwide. Wow. In the United States, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, which is the organization that is the go-to for MS, estimates that there's about 400,000 people, Americans, living with MS. But some estimate there's more because a lot of people don't tell that they have MS.
Or sometimes it's hard, it takes a while to get the proper diagnosis.
Yes.
And are more women, more men? What do you find in the population?
It's more women than men that are currently diagnosed by the disease, the MS.
Yes. And it can manifest itself in different ways, so no two stories are alike.
Absolutely. And it's like a thumb, it's like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, you know, but every story is significant, you know, and you know, Danya's story, I have a story. Everybody living with MS has a story that they can, you know, talk about.
Is there a general age range when you might be diagnosed? Younger?
Between 20s and 40s.
So we're looking at young women right in the middle of the best times of their lives.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But like I was telling you earlier, the pediatric MS now is occurring. I think there's 10,000 cases in the country, and even people over 50 who are not supposed to get diagnosed with MS are getting diagnosed.
Happening.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, scary. So it's an attack on the central nervous system.
Yes.
Yes.
And what is that, the myelin?
What it is there's a covering on our nerve cells, you know, that is like a fatty substance called myelin. And what happens is your body attacks itself, and it starts to destroy this myelin, which is what allows the conduction of the nervous, of the
nervous. Central nervous system.
Right, of the message. The message that the central nervous system is trying to tell whatever
part, gets interrupted or sent the wrong way.
Right, so it can affect anything. It can affect your eyes, it can affect your legs, it can affect your movements, it can affect your cognitive, it can affect, I mean, it's so many things, you know. So it can affect your eyesight at that, you know, so.
Wow, so many things.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed at the age of 25 in 1998. Okay. I'm 43 now, so it's been a long time.
Right.
And it was
a fighter.
It was quite a something I wasn't expecting. You know.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living in Miami.
Okay.
I had recently graduated from college from healthcare administration, and I was working in a hospital. And I was doing very well.
This was like that time of your life.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I was, you know, I was young. I had dreams. I wanted to go up the corporate ladder, and everything looked great. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I experienced problems with my legs. In March of 1998 is when I remember, it was a Monday, and my legs became numb, and I couldn't feel them. And I just blamed it on, I said I'm working too much, because besides, being young and energetic, I used to work 80 hours a week. Right. So you blame it all on
something else, certainly.
Right, exactly. That's the last thing on your mind. But when this started to, by Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, I started to feel this numbness and this heaviness that spread throughout my body. And I called my mother, who is an RN, and she directed me. She says, I can't tell you what it is because it sounds like it's neurological. Go to a neurologist as soon as possible. And I did that, and they did all the tests that they do, which are the MRIs, the spinal tap, there's like 3 or 4 EEGs, all these things that they want to rule out multiple sclerosis, because a lot of the things that happen with MS happen with a lot of other neurological diseases.
So it's hard to diagnose.
Right, it is.
It gets masks. Okay.
And so I was finally diagnosed because what happened was they did the spinal tap, and by the time the results came back from it, I was in the hospital. Because they put me there for the weekend, and by Sunday I couldn't walk. I was completely paralyzed, and I said, it was.
How could you have gone from?
How can I have gone from
being so vibrant?
Yes.
To this.
I didn't understand. I was scared. I was mad.
I can't even begin to imagine. Yes, mad. And pardon me, but we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking with our MS ambassadors. And Stella, continue sharing your journey with us.
Right. So as I was saying before, I had this acute exacerbation that paralyzed me, and they started me on the steroid treatment. And unfortunately, not everybody responds to the steroid treatment, so I actually remained paralyzed for 3 months. And yeah, it was tough. I didn't know what was going to happen. At that age, you're thinking, the future. You're thinking kids, marriage. Yes, grim. And fortunately, I got some very good information from the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, which is an organization in the country that is a resource for anybody that is diagnosed with MS, anybody who's a family member of someone with MS, anybody who's interested in it.
Caregivers,
exactly.
And our regional office is in Jacksonville.
Yes,
right,
yes, ma'am. And they offer many programs that assist us and assist anybody that needs resources, or anything with financial or questions, or they offer family programs. Absolutely. And I truly recommend anybody who gets diagnosed with MS contact the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
That's your starting point. We're making that phone number available, and I know you have a support group here.
Yes, we do.
Danya, that meets how often?
They meet every 4th Monday of each month.
Okay, all right.
At Trinity Church.
Okay, we'll make that knowledge available too, but good to know for everybody.
Yes.
And
so continuing on with my story, I eventually, what my doctor did, he acted very aggressively. Back when I was diagnosed, there was only 3 therapies available for managing multiple sclerosis. And it was all brand new because nobody really knows what's going to happen when you start these medicines. But now it is absolutely imperative to convey the message that if you are diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, you begin a disease-modifying therapy immediately. Right. And back then there was only 3, and I started one back then, which is the one I'm still on, and it has worked for me, and that's the goal, is to find the medicine that works for you. And I also, I regained my ability to walk. I eventually got married. I had 2 children. I have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old, and those kids are my life, And my life has gone on. I have managed my MS with the help of many things, the therapy I'm on, disease-modifying therapy, with medication, how I eat. I eat a very well-balanced diet. I also take vitamins. I exercise. I think exercise is critical.
For all of us.
Absolutely. And last but not least, a positive attitude.
I appreciate that.
Yes,
and you're
ma'am.
sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And Danya, you have your own story also. And as you both pointed out, everybody's story is different.
Yes.
And that even makes it a little trickier to identify this, condition. Tell us about what happened with you.
Well, I was diagnosed in 1998, and I was 26 years old when I was diagnosed. I was working with my parents.
Yes, you had a great restaurant.
Yeah, the great restaurant that they had. I was the manager at the restaurant. And that day, my dad had a beautiful event. It was a graduation for attorneys. And I was serving this beautiful table with nice people. And I was walking with this tray full of drinks. And when I was serving it, I just blinked my eyes and everything was black for just 1 second. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? It's sort of like something funny, but the drinks went on the table. And okay, well, cute boys, yes, oh, a mistake, oops, sorry. But everything was picked up, and okay, I kept on.
This would have been the farthest thing from your mind.
Very embarrassing, but okay, everything is nice.
That's just
picked it up.
in life. Yeah.
I served it again, and everything was normal. That was my first symptom, but nothing happened again. That was my first symptom, and after that, I started, with the spots, little spots, and
that's often a common way that people realize they have MS.
After that, that's what optic neuritis.
Okay.
What they call it, but it kept on coming, like those same symptoms, and I went through the hospital and they did bunch of tests, bunch of tests, numerous tests, and finally comes this student with a huge watch, huge glasses, and he just pinpoints at my eye and he says, this is optic neuritis.
And you're going like, still, what is this?
And I'm like, what is it?
Well,
so,
we're going to take another quick break.
Okay.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking with our MS ambassadors. And Danya, continue on with your story. That moment, the gentleman says optic neuritis.
And then when I took all those results and I took them to the clinic, to the doctor, which my cousin, and I showed him all those results, and a red alert, impossible. You're 26 years old.
How can you have
this?
MS?
Is impossible.
This can't be.
So, but he had to refer me to one of the neurologists at the clinic. So when I went there, again, you're too young, 26 years old. But it was clear. He did an MRI on me, but it was clear, MS.
I can't even begin to think how you get your mind to it, and just the many questions. And, let's say years later, you met the wonderful man, Michael, who's your husband.
Yes. That's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
That's a good part of the journey, isn't it?
Yep.
But how do you begin to cope?
My belief,
knowledge,
education. And also, like I'm gonna say again, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society
is there.
Yes, to help you cope with the diagnosis, with information, and they're committed to creating a world free of MS by many forms.
Right.
One of the forms is they offer the MS Walk.
Right, so the fundraising is important. We've
Absolutely.
got to do more research. You yourself are an advocate. I know you've been
Yes.
to Tallahassee.
Yes, I have. I have.
Speaking to legislators.
I did. I was able to talk to a senator from Jacksonville about a bill that we want to push, which is about, it's called The Right Drug at the Right Time. And just to tell
Okay.
you a little bit about that real quick is that, you know, right now, they have to do a lot of loopholes to put you on the medicine they want, the insurance companies. Even if the doctor thinks
Says
that
it.
this medicine is the right one for you, but the insurance company doesn't want to pay that yet. They want you to go through all these other ones, you know? And so what happens when you go through all these other ones, you get worse because your MS is progressive. So the doctor's initial, what he wants
Is what's important.
right. And so when I told the senator that, he says, we want to keep you on your drugs, Stella. We'll call this Stella's bill.
Oh, I love it, Stella. Well done, well done. I know you've told me too, there's 4 types of MS, so
Yes.
it's important that
Absolutely.
you know
There is
which
the
one.
most popular, I don't want to say popular, but the
Common,
most
yeah,
common
yeah.
one is called relapsing MS. And that's the kind that you have relapses, meaning that you have attacks, but then you go into area
Like
of remission.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the goal. The goal is to go into remission.
And is that, you both
That's
have
what,
that type
yeah,
of,
that's where
okay.
I am right now.
And that's where
Okay.
I've been
This
now.
Is, you're both in a good point.
Right,
Yes.
we haven't had an attack in a long time. We're managing our MS.
A blessing.
Our
right.
symptoms. You still have to manage symptoms because it doesn't go away. You know,
Right,
we
you
can
can't
both
cure it
No,
as of yet.
exactly. But like I always say, being on a medicine makes all the difference in the world.
Wow. So you will be out there for the walk. Tell
Absolutely.
me. Yes,
Absolutely.
Tell me, Danya, when is that going to take place?
The walk is going to take place April 16th,
Saturday.
yes, at Kanapaha Veterans Memorial Park,
Wonderful.
yes.
Okay.
And it's going to be 3.5 miles,
Wow.
yes. And the good part
You're
of
getting
this
in
is,
shape, yeah.
yes, it's going to be 3.5 miles. And the good part of it is that you can do 1 mile, 2
Okay.
miles, 3 miles.
Just
I mean,
join.
Yes,
Absolutely.
just join, meet people, network, learn more
I
about the
know.
condition because there's going to be vendors, there's going to be
a good way to-
information. Absolutely.
Information,
absolutely.
a good way to learn and talk to other people, certainly, which is what a support group is about. which
Absolutely.
is essential.
Family, friends, co-workers, a lot of people get together.
And,
that
and
day.
what time do we show up?
8 o'clock is registration.
Registration.
Walk starts at 9.
Okay.
And ends at 12.
All right. And then after.
And there's food.
Right, food, time to socialize.
Absolutely.
As you
Absolutely.
said, the vendors, lots of, and lots of good people to be with, like the two of you. Very positive. We're gonna
Absolutely.
take another quick break.
Okay,
Stay
thank
with
you.
us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about Walk MS. And tell me more about the walk that's coming up again. I know it's Saturday, April the 16th. Where's it going to take place?
It's going to take place at Kanapaha Veterans Memorial Park.
Okay, a beautiful area.
Yes.
And what time do we show up?
8 o'clock is registration. 9 o'clock is when the walk starts, and it ends at 12. And there's going to be food there. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be face painting for kids.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yeah, and
All
there's
right.
going to be tons of people as far as, you know, living with MS. There's going to be
A good-
resources.
right.
Yes.
A good time to network. Definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, now, Danya, last year you were a high roller.
Yes, ma'am.
Another year coming up. Okay, what's that mean, a high roller?
High rollers, you raise a lot of money.
Yay!
Money that's going towards research.
With research?
Yes, ma'am.
One day, a cure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what we are looking towards.
Yes, I understand that brighter future.
Yes.
But, okay, so who's on your team? You've got Beverly, your mother-in-law. You got Michael. You have your son.
My son, my mom, my dad, my uncle, all my family,
Oh, okay.
basically.
What do you call your team?
Team McGee.
Perfect. I like it. So if we go to the website, can we join Team McGee?
You can join Team McGee. You can, actually, if you go to walkms.org.
Okay.
You can be a volunteer and help.
Oh, and I know you need a lot of volunteers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
To have done that
Yes.
day. Yes.
Absolutely.
And then what if you can't be there April 16th? How can we still be a part of it? Can we donate?
Absolutely. Contacting the National Multiple Sclerosis Society
All right.
and making a donation to Walk MS.
Yes.
Okay. And we know they're doing so many positive things. But the two of you sharing your story, I just have to pay tribute to you because you have carried on amazingly and built productive quality lives, and you're smiling back at me, and I don't know how you carry on.
Yeah.
You're quite the role models.
Thank you. Thank you. I always tell people, it is devastating, it is hard, it is a chronic condition that's going to be with you for the rest of your life, but it is manageable. It is not the end of the world. Thank goodness that we have now about 12 or 13 medications to manage MS in the form of injections, in the form of pills, in the form of infusions.
Wow. Okay. So
Whatever
we've made much
your doctor,
progress.
the important thing is to have your doctor, listen to your doctor, have a good relationship, and be a compliant patient. That's very important. I believe that sticking to your therapy, sticking to what you have to do, allows you to live well with MS.
Wow. And Danya, with your loving husband and your family, you're sitting here smiling, such a beautiful woman, what would you like to say? Invite people to join you at the walk? And,
Absolutely.
And I just still have to say, I'm just impressed. And the fact that you were ambassadors for the MS Society, who has so much to offer, I just thank you for taking us on this journey with you doing our show.
And we thank you for
Yes,
giving
we
us
do.
the opportunity
Absolutely.
to be here
Many
and join
thanks.
us.
We're friends,
Yes.
and I value that.
Thank you.
Thank you again. And I hope I will see you at the walk on Saturday, April 16th at Gainesville-Kanapahal Veterans Memorial Park. I'm so glad you tuned in, and I hope you'll join us next week. Take care.